Welcome back for another deep dive. You know we love to tackle health topics that directly impact your lives. And today we're diving into something that's been requested a bunch. Compression arthritis gloves.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely seen those around.
Exactly. We're going to unpack everything,
Hmm.
what they are, the science behind them, do they actually work, and how to pick the right pair if you decide to give them a shot. You mentioned you've been looking into non-invasive ways to deal with pain.
Oh, absolutely.
So this seems like a perfect fit.
Definitely.
I'm actually pretty curious about these myself. I've heard from friends and family who found some relief using them. So to kick things off, what exactly are these compression arthritis gloves? What makes them different from just, a regular pair of gloves?
Well, they're usually made from comfy, breathable materials, like cotton or spandex.
Okay.
But the special thing is that gentle, consistent pressure they put on your hands and fingers.
Uh-huh.
And compression is what helps increase blood flow, reduce swelling, and support your joints, those achy joints.
So it's like a therapeutic hug for your hands.
Yeah, exactly. And they can also keep your hands warm. A lot of folks find that helps with arthritic hands. And, you can wear them day or night. Makes pretty handy.
That makes sense. But why are these gloves especially good for folks dealing with arthritis?
So, inflammatory arthritis, like the rheumatoid and osteoarthritis kind,
Mm-hmm.
those often target the tiny joints in our hands.
Yeah.
And we use our hands constantly. So all that motion plus inflammation can make even simple things feel impossible.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you don't realize how much you rely on your hands until they start giving you trouble. So how do these gloves actually help with that?
All right, let's break it down. First up is pain relief. The gentle pressure from the gloves stimulates nerves in your skin, which can block pain signals going to your brain.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's called the gate control theory.
Gate control theory.
Mm.
So that means the compression kind of overrides the pain signals?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Those nerves in your skin, the mechanoreceptors, they get activated by the pressure,
Okay.
and that blocks those pain signals. Of course, it's not a cure, but it can really help.
That's amazing. What about swelling? How do they help with that?
Well, that constant pressure, it improves circulation and helps drain extra fluid building up in your tissues.
So it's like unclogging a traffic jam in your hand.
I like that analogy. It's not just about clearing the back up. It's also making sure oxygen and nutrients get to your joints to help them heal.
Right, right.
And as swelling goes down and pain lessens, people often notice they can use their hands better.
Like actually being able to grip things, type, button their clothes.
Exactly. A lot of people find they can do things they thought they had to give up.
Wow, that's incredible. So we've talked about anecdotal evidence and this gate control theory.
Hmm.
What about the bigger picture? Is there any research to back all this up, about compression therapy?
Oh, for sure. Compression therapy, the basic idea behind these gloves, it's been studied a lot.
Okay.
It's a well-known method to boost circulation and manage inflammation.
But doesn't everyone experience pain differently? Are there times when this gate control theory might not work as well?
Oh, you bring up a great point. Everyone's pain is different, right? Lots of factors play into it.
Mm-hmm.
While the gate control theory is solid, it's not a magic bullet. For some, the pain relief is huge. Others, maybe just a little.
So it might not work for everyone, but the science behind it is there.
Exactly. And researchers are still figuring out how to tailor this therapy to each person.
Gotcha. Are there any specific studies you can tell us about that back up the benefits of compression therapy, specifically for arthritis?
There's this study from 2014 published in the Journal of Rehabilitation Research and Development. It looked at how compression gloves affected people with rheumatoid arthritis, especially those who wore them overnight.
Interesting.
They found that folks had way less stiffness in the morning, and they slept better because the pain wasn't bothering them as much.
Makes sense to focus on nighttime wear. Lots of people experience more stiffness and pain at night.
Absolutely. Addressing that can really make a difference in overall comfort and well-being.
Okay, so we got scientific backing for compression therapy in general, but what about clinical evidence specifically for these gloves? Do any reputable health organizations actually endorse them?
They do. The Arthritis Foundation, a big name in arthritis, actually includes compression gloves in their ease of use program.
Wow, that's a pretty strong endorsement. Why do they include them? What makes these gloves so easy to use for people with arthritis?
Well, one big reason is the design. They focus on gloves that are lightweight, breathable, often with open fingertips.
Yeah.
This makes them easier to wear for longer periods and lets you do everyday tasks better.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about the compression. It's got to be practical and comfortable enough for people to actually use them.
Exactly. If the gloves are a pain to wear, nobody's going to use them, right?
Right, right. So it seems like the science and clinical communities are on board. But let's be real. How effective are these gloves in real life? Do they live up to the hype?
It's important to remember everyone's different,
Hmm.
but there are some common benefits people report.
Like what? What are people saying?
Well, the most common one is pain relief and more comfort. People say they feel less pain and can move their hands better after wearing the gloves regularly.
So not a miracle cure, but a useful tool for managing arthritis.
Exactly. A non-invasive, drug-free option that can work alongside other treatments.
And what about the sleep benefits we talked about? How do the gloves improve sleep?
Wearing them at night can really help with that stiffness and pain, especially for folks whose arthritis acts up at night and messes with their sleep.
Yeah,
Less pain, less stiffness, more restful sleep.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
makes sense. And what about the functional improvements we talked about? Can people actually do everyday things easier with the gloves?
A lot of people say they can. They grip things better, type more comfortably, and just get through the day easier. Things like opening jars or buttoning shirts, which used to be tough, become manageable again.
So if someone's listening and thinking, hey, these sound promising, I want to try them, what should they keep in mind when picking a pair?
Well, the fit is super important. They should be snug, but not too tight. You want that gentle, consistent pressure, but you don't want to cut off circulation or make things uncomfortable.
Of course. What about material? Are certain fabrics better?
Breathable, stretchy fabrics are the way to go. Cotton or spandex are good choices, comfy for long wear, and they let your skin breathe.
And we've mentioned open fingertips a few times. Is that a must-have for everyone?
Not necessarily. It really depends on what you need. Open fingertips definitely give you better dexterity, for tasks where you need to use your fingers a lot.
Okay, yeah.
But if you mostly want warmth and compression, full coverage might be better.
So finding that balance, right?
Mhm.
Compression, comfort, functionality, whatever works best for you.
Mm.
Now, I'm always curious about real-world experiences. You mentioned some customer reviews before, right? What are people saying?
Oh, there are so many stories about folks finding relief and getting back to doing the things they love. One that sticks out is about this woman, Sarah. She started wearing the gloves every night,
Uh-huh.
and she noticed a big difference. Much less swelling, almost no pain in the mornings. She even started doing hobbies she'd given up because of her arthritis.
Wow. What was it about the gloves that helped her so much? Was it the continuous compression throughout the night?
It's tough to say from the reviews. They don't always give specifics,
Yeah, that's true.
but likely the combo of less swelling, better circulation, and the warmth from the gloves all helped.
That makes sense. What about other success stories? Any examples of people using the gloves to specifically address functional challenges?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There was this review from a guy named Tom. He loved these Activiste Magno gloves.
Activiste Magno gloves? What are those?
They're unique because they've got magnets built right in.
Magnets. How does that work?
So they have these magnets placed strategically in the fabric, usually around the joints. The idea is these magnets create a magnetic field that can help with blood flow and reduce inflammation.
Is there a specific type of magnet they use?
Well, the manufacturers don't always say, but it's usually either static magnets, which give you a constant magnetic field, or biomagnets.
Wow.
Those supposedly emit a certain frequency of magnetic energy.
Interesting. So we don't really know for sure how magnetic therapy works, but it's cool that people are trying different things for pain relief.
Totally. It shows how people are taking charge of their health and looking for more options. And while we need more research on magnetic therapy, the stories are pretty compelling.
It seems like we're moving away from the one-size-fits-all approach and recognizing that what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. It's all about finding what works for you and your body.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground. The science, the practicality, real-life experiences with these compression arthritis gloves.
Definitely a fascinating discussion so far.
Before we jump into specific brands and tips for getting the most out of these gloves, I'm just curious, what are your overall thoughts on what we've learned so far? What stands out to you?
What amazes me is how simple compression therapy is, and yet it can have such a big impact. We've seen how it might reduce pain, improve circulation, lessen swelling, and even help you sleep better.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. Such a straightforward concept with potentially significant benefits.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show how powerful it can be when we understand the human body and find innovative ways to promote healing and well-being.
Couldn't agree more. So let's dive into the next phase of our deep dive and explore some of the top-rated compression gloves out there.
I'm ready when you are.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the tiniest things, like what they're made of or how they fit, can make a big difference in how well these gloves work.
Yeah, it's all about that Goldilocks zone. Not too loose, not too tight, just the right amount of squeeze.
Exactly. Speaking of choices, let's talk about specific brands and products. We did some digging on top-rated compression arthritis gloves, and I'm excited to share what we found.
Hit me with it. What caught your eye?
Well, one that stands out is the Bodyassist Soft Compression Arthritis Gloves. They seem to tick all the boxes. Comfy, breathable fabric, good compression, can wear them day or night. Plus, they come in a bunch of colors, so you can find something you like.
Practical and stylish. What else?
Those Actives Magno gloves we talked about before, those are interesting. They have magnets woven right into the fabric.
Right, the ones with the magnets. Remind me again how that works.
So they have these magnets placed at specific points in the fabric, usually around the joints.
Okay.
The idea is the magnets create a magnetic field that can improve blood flow and reduce inflammation.
Fascinating. What kind of magnets do they use?
Well, they don't always specify, but it's usually static magnets for a constant magnetic field or biomagnets, which emit a specific frequency of magnetic energy.
So there's still a lot we don't know about how magnetic therapy works. But, hey, it's great that people are exploring all these different avenues.
Absolutely. Shows how people are taking their health into their own hands. And even though we need more research, the stories are pretty encouraging.
Yeah, like we were saying, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing anymore.
Exactly.
Finding what works for you is key.
Now, getting the right gloves is one thing, but using them right is another.
True, true. Any tips on how to get the most out of them?
Oh, for sure. It's not just about putting them on and hoping for the best. There are some tricks to really amp up their effectiveness.
Okay, I'm all about maximizing the benefits. What's the most important thing?
Consistency, hands down. The more you wear them, the better they work.
Gotcha. So not a quick fix, but more of a long-term strategy.
Exactly. Make them part of your routine. And timing matters too. If you're doing something that usually triggers your arthritis, like gardening or typing, pop those gloves on beforehand.
Smart. So a preventative measure, too.
You got it. And don't forget nighttime wear. Remember that study about how wearing them at night helped with stiffness and sleep?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Totally. And just to be clear, these gloves aren't meant to replace other treatments.
Right.
Think of them as part of a bigger plan. Maybe you're also doing medication, physical therapy, or lifestyle changes.
So it's all about finding that right mix. Right.
Exactly. That's where the magic happens.
And any tips on keeping the gloves clean and working well?
Good point. Like anything else you wear, they need a little TLC. Wash them regularly, how the manufacturer recommends to get rid of dirt and stuff.
Yeah.
And make sure they're bone dry before you put them back on.
Makes sense. Nobody wants to put on damp gloves, especially when they're trying to feel better.
Exactly. It's those little things that can make a big difference.
You know, it's easy to get lost in the science and all the technical stuff, but it's those real-life stories that really hit home. Earlier, we skimmed over some customer reviews.
Yeah.
Any more you want to share?
One that really resonated with me was from Maria. She said her arthritis had gotten so bad, even simple things like buttoning her shirt or opening jars were a struggle. She was hesitant to try the gloves at first,
Understandably.
but once she felt the relief, it was like she got her hands and her life back.
It's amazing how something so simple can make such a difference in someone's independence and well-being. What did she say helped her the most?
She said the gloves really helped with the pain and stiffness. Everyday things became easier and less painful. And she also said the gloves felt like they were supporting her joints, which made her more confident using her hands.
So it wasn't just physical relief, but also emotional.
Absolutely. Chronic pain can really wear you down, both physically and emotionally. Finding something that helps manage that pain can be life-changing.
I've noticed a lot of these reviews talk about accessibility. Compression gloves seem pretty affordable and easy to get.
That's so important. Not everyone can afford fancy treatments. These gloves are a practical, drug-free option, easy to fit into your life.
And you don't need a prescription.
Exactly. You can just order them online or pick them up at the store. That kind of access is a game changer.
It's awesome that we're highlighting that aspect too, not just the science. It's about giving people the info and tools they need to take charge of their health.
I couldn't agree more.
We've covered a lot: brands, tips, real-life stories. Before we move on to the bigger picture, any final thoughts on this part of our deep dive?
What really strikes me is how important it is to look at arthritis management holistically. Compression gloves are a great tool, but they work best as part of a bigger plan, along with other therapies, lifestyle changes, and a proactive attitude.
That's a great takeaway for our listeners. Find what works for you, stick with it, and never give up hope on improving your quality of life.
I love that. Now, ready to wrap things up and talk about the bigger picture of what we've learned about these gloves and their role in managing arthritis?
As we've been talking about these compression arthritis gloves, I've noticed some bigger themes popping up, things that go beyond just the gloves themselves. It feels like we're seeing some major shifts in how we think about healthcare these days.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things is this move towards patients taking charge of their own health, especially when it comes to chronic conditions. People are becoming more proactive.
Yeah, like they're not just accepting a diagnosis and sitting back, they're getting involved.
Exactly. And these gloves are a great example of that. They're easy to get, affordable, and you don't need a doctor's permission to try them. People can take control and see what works for them.
So it's about finding that balance, right? Still talking to your doctor, but also being open to exploring different things on your own.
That's key. It's not about ditching traditional medicine, but finding ways to work with it, to create a more well-rounded approach.
Which brings us to another trend we've talked about, this growing interest in holistic and integrative health.
Oh yeah, big time. People are realizing that there isn't always one right answer. Everyone's different.
Right. Our bodies are complex. What works for one person might not work for another. It's about being open to different approaches.
And these gloves fit right into that.
Mm-hmm.
They're gentle, non-invasive, can be used alongside other treatments. Really versatile.
It all comes back to that idea of taking charge of your health, talking to your doctor, understanding your options, making choices that feel right for you.
And being willing to try things that might not be mainstream, like these gloves,
Yeah.
especially if they fit with your lifestyle and what you're looking for.
It feels like we've uncovered a lot more than just facts about these gloves today. We've touched on some really important changes happening in healthcare right now.
It's exciting to see people taking their health seriously and finding new ways to live better lives.
Absolutely. And for anyone out there dealing with arthritis or any chronic condition, I hope this deep dive has given you some hope and some new ideas.
Remember, the more you know, the better decisions you can make. Knowledge is power.
Could have said it better myself. Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration of compression arthritis gloves. We hope you learned something new and maybe even found a new tool to help you or someone you care about. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and take care of yourselves.